Hi everyone, in this video I'll be reading a Miraculous fanfic which I titled Miraculous Holders Party Part 3 of 3. I didn't know how many parts it was going to be when I started this, so I apologize for not saying that earlier. Alright. It's based on the show Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, by the way. So, finally, the final part. One sec before I start reading it. Okay. I had a bunch of paper clips near me. Okay. There. Good. Alright, is it all on camera? Alright, here we go. Good. Awesome. So, Alia says reassuring, "It's okay. I have plenty of ideas to replace the lady blog with." Replace the lady blog with. Adrian wonders, "I have a question for Ladybug." Ladybug asks, okay, what is it? "Will you go on a date with me?" asks Adrian. Hopeful. Ladybug says, "Do you like both sides of me?" Adrian says, Of course I do. So, what do you say, Ladybug?" Ladybug says, "Of course, I will go out with you." Kim says, "I have another question for Ladybug." Ladybug asks, "Okay, what's your question, Kim?" Kim says, "Ladybug, how did you know everyone's secret identities?" Ladybug reveals, "Well, I gave a Miraculous to almost everyone in this room, aside from you and Adrian. And after the two truths and one lie, I knew exactly who you two were." Kim wonders, "Interesting. So I have another question for Ladybug." "What's your question?" asks Ladybug. Okay, I want to put this at the back of the notebook, or the back of the story here. Alright, there we go. Okay, what's your question? Kim asks, "Do you come here before each battle to pick up your Miraculous?" Adrian says, "No, we get to keep them with us, so we're ready to battle right away." Adrian gets a stare from Ladybug. "What, did I say something wrong?" Ollie confused. "Why do you guys get to keep your Miraculous, but we don't?" Adrian nervously, "Oh, now I understand the look you gave me earlier. Sorry, Ladybug." "It's okay. So the reason we get to keep our Miraculous is because we received our Miraculous from the Guardian. You only get to keep a Miraculous if it's given to you by a Guardian. Even a Guardian in training can't give it to you unless it's only temporary." Alia says, "Are you saying you're a Guardian in training?" Ladybug says, "Yes. It means when the current Guardian can't be the Guardian anymore, I will take his place as the Guardian of the Miraculous box." Max wonders, "Who's the current Guardian then?" Ladybug explains, "It's the person who sent you the email to meet here." Alright, in frame? Good. Alright. "Who sent you all the email to meet here?" Max says, "So, Fu, can we keep our Miraculous?" Master Fu advises, "Keeping a Miraculous requires a lot of responsibility. Also, if Hawkmoth knows who you are, you can no longer be a superhero." So, 2 of you can't keep your Miraculouses. Max says, what if the 2 people you're talking about get different Miraculouses? Then they had when Hawkmoth found out who they were, or maybe they switched Miraculous. Then they could keep. Then could we keep them? Master Fu realizes that's a good idea, but I still need them to help train Ladybug. Don't you want the future Guardian to be fully trained when she becomes the Guardian? Max says, yeah, of course I do. Master Fu says, then I can't give them to you guys now. Is everyone okay with that? All the temporary Miraculous holders say, okay, sadly. The next day at school, Hawkmoth akumatizes someone, and it requires all the holders to save the day. So now they have to figure out how to get out of class to save the day. How all of them are going to get out of the class, it's going to be a challenge. Mari says, oh darn, I don't have the assignment you handed out yesterday. The teacher says, well, I will take my blank copy to the photocopier. So, Alia, I'm leaving you in charge when I'm gone. The teacher leaves the classroom. Mari says, so, Alex, Kagami, Alia, Chloe, come with me. And Adrian says, and Kim, Max, and Luca, you come with me. Mari informs Julika, I'm sure your brother told you what we are doing when we leave the room, so I need you to have our back. You got it, Mari, says Julika. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I haven't watched the show in a while. MMJ says, Mari takes the girls to Fu's place to pick up their Miraculouses. So now the girls are on scene. Adrian takes the boys to Master Fu's place to pick up and transform into their superhero selves. The boys are now on scene. Hawkmoth says, wow, there's a whole team now. This will make my victory all the more awesome. Sorry. Back in the classroom, the teacher is walking in with the assignments. The teacher confused says, where did all of my students go? Or sorry, where did 10 of my students go? That was a number. Okay. Julika says, they went for a movement break. The teacher says, not buying it. No, seriously, where did they go? You wouldn't believe me even if I told you, says Julika, adding some sass in there. The teacher says, tell me anyway. Julika says, they wanted to save the world. The teacher is still convinced she's lying. You expect me to believe that the 10 superheroes out there are my 10 missing students? Julika says, I knew you wouldn't believe me. The teacher says, wait, so you're telling the truth? Based on her facial expression, she picked that up. Based on Julika's facial expression, the teacher picked up that she is telling the truth. So, Julika's like, yes, one of them is actually my brother, Luca. The superheroes saved the day and are now walking into class after returning their Miraculouses. They're in their civilian form now. The teacher says, were you just defeating a villain? Julika says, nervously confessing, sorry, I had to, Mari. Mari reveals, yes, I'm Ladybug. Adrian says, and I'm Cat Noir. Max says, I'm Pegasus. Chloe says, Well, I was Queen Bee, but now I'm Ryoko. So, Chloe and Kagami swap their Miraculouses, essentially. Okay. And next, Kagami says, I was Ryoko. I don't know how it's pronounced. I apologize for butchering the pronunciation. But now I'm Queen Bee. I know they'd have different names, but whatever. Kim reveals, I'm King Monkey. Alex says, I'm Bunnix. Olia says, I'm Rena Rouge. Luca says, I'm Viperian. Nino says, I'm Carapace. Side note, I was watching a veterinarian show and I didn't realize Carapace is actually a part of a turtle. That's like, oh, so that's why his name is Carapace. Duh. I think it's like a part of the shell or something. I'm like, oh, now that makes sense. I didn't know that before. Anyway, Nino says, I'm Carapace. The teacher's like, wow, that's crazy. Mari says, requesting, you cannot tell anyone about this, okay, Miss Bustier? I hope I spelled that right. And pronounced it right. I know her name is French, so, and I have a little bit of French knowledge, because it was a requirement in Canada to learn French, in elementary school. So, anyway, the teacher says, your secret's safe with me. Mari says, great. Everyone is happy. Everyone's happy that they have no more secrets between each other. The end. Side note, this fanfic was written before I watched the Miraculous New York special, so I didn't include the holder of the Falcon Miraculous for that reason, just so you know. And it was before, Rose and Julika and Ivan and Waylen got their Miraculouses, so yeah. And there's more, and Felix before he got his Miraculous, so yeah, it was before that point. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this story. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Hope you like seeing the original copy of it. Yeah, I've definitely learned a lot. Printing, in spelling, in writing, in grammar, since I made this story. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching.